welcome to the Her Business Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories of women entrepreneurs making their mark. I'm Susie Daphnis. Today's episode is actually me sharing with you something that I haven't spoken about on the podcast before, but it's the one thing that I've been doing in all of my years of business that I truly believe is an essential part of any successful business. And it's something that's usually reserved for the big end of town, or at least people think it is, but I've been using this since I was a team of one, a team of two. I used this same strategy when we had 45 staff in 3 different countries, and it's something that I've continued to use to this day and something that I think that you can really make the most of. Once you better understand how to do this for yourself, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. And what I'm talking about didn't happen overnight, but it was something that was a concerted effort because I wanted to have something in my business that I could rely on to support me in a strong way. And as I said, it's one thing that I've done in every single business. And I've actually grown 5 7-figure businesses, and I've done this in every single business. Today we're talking about having an advisory group. Now, what does that even mean? So an advisory group is having a group of smart people around you who've got your back, who support you to make some business decisions. They're your sounding board, and each person brings their own strengths and areas of expertise. As I said, this is something usually heard about in bigger businesses, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm going to tell you how you can create and utilize this incredible resource for yourself. So this episode is for you if you've ever had any negative thoughts and self-doubt, and you're running a business thinking, I don't know if I'm making the right decisions. And I know I've been there for sure. This is for you if you ever get decision fatigue. As business owners, we are making decisions all day long, and sometimes you don't even know if you're making the right decision anymore. Sometimes you don't even know what your next step should be, or you're overthinking, or you're getting stuck on your decisions and going in circles, and that can happen. When we don't know enough about a subject that we want to make a decision on, or when we've done it so many times that we end up spinning in circles, being able to make clear decisions at the right time, being very strategic in your business is such an important part of growing a successful business. And advisory groups are a way to grow fast and to go far. There's a great proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And advisory groups are definitely the case for going far. So whether you want to grow how many clients you have, or you want to grow how many subscribers you have on YouTube, or how many followers on Instagram, or whether you want to grow your team so that you can get out of the day-to-day, or whether you want to grow your profit or simply your confidence as a leader, an advisory board can truly change the game for you. The advantages of advisory boards include things like being able to gain access to valuable insights that you just don't have, because it lets you tap into the brains of other people. And it's all about building these strategic relationships with the women and men on your advisory group, because you can get connected to the people you need and want to know faster by extending your network. Whenever I've needed extra brain power on something, whether it was a new program I was putting together, whether it was client interviews that I was doing, whether it was trying to crunch some numbers or think about my 90-day plan, what it was going to be, having someone as a sounding board has been invaluable. So if you're a small business owner and if you don't have a team of experts in your business, then this is a way to tap into expertise without the price tag of a bunch of team members or a hired board. And you can have someone who holds you accountable. You can have someone to show up for. You can have someone who's going to check in on you and be that gentle nudge in your back that says, oh, you know that thing that you wanted to do? How's that going, by the way? That's one of the biggest advantages for me, because I know that as a business owner, I can set goals, never do anything about them, and no one would know, right? Alone, we can let those goals slip by, but with an advisory group, you're going to have to get things done that you say you're going to get done. But this actually bolsters your confidence, because you'll see the progress reflected right back at you. The more like-minded, motivated people you can surround yourself with, the better. But our advisory groups, they allow us to show up. And I'll show you how this structure works, because this is something we do inside the Her Business Network. We show up, and when we show up, we're going to have done the things that we say we're going to do. We're being held accountable. And we do see that progress reflected back to us by our group members. So you want to be talking to women who've gone down the path that you want to go. And this is what your advisory group allows you to do. In my time in business, I've noticed that there are certain mistakes that women business owners make that really hold back their growth. And the first is that perceiving having other women around or having an advisory group as a threat to their independence. I'm a business owner, I don't want to be accountable. And we have this notion that we have to run our business on our own, to grow it all by ourselves and never take help from anyone. But after almost 30 years in business, I can tell you without a doubt that I would never have gotten as far as I have or as fast if I had relied on my own wits. And I've grown successful businesses because I've always surrounded myself with advisory groups. So we have to stop viewing them as a threat to our independence and rather as an asset. Mistake number 2 I see women make is they're focusing too much on their day-to-day to-do lists and they're not taking time out of their day to step into strategy. Now, every time you meet with your advisory group, you get that time. You set your goals. You see the progress that you've made in the last month. You see what you need to focus on in the next month. You're always working from the big picture, not just in the day-to-day details. And the way that we work inside of her business with this is that every quarter, the entire community meets in smaller groups. And we set out our picture about what the next 90 days is going to look like. Where do we want to be? What's on the horizon? What do our financials look like? What about our marketing? What about our mindset? How will I grow personally in the next 90 days to achieve my big goals? And then we focus on the tactics, but only after we've worked on the strategies. Because it's easy to fall into the habit of thinking only day to day. What am I doing today? What am I doing next week? And we have to take that time to zoom out and really think about the big picture. The third mistake we make is getting comfortable. Now, this is a human tendency, and I like to be as comfortable as the next person. We don't want to be pushed because business can be hard. But the moment that we can get out of our comfort zone, the moment that we are questioned by someone else about a decision or an idea, or we get input, we expand and we never contract back to who we were. And resistance to change can keep you really small. That's the third mistake. And the fourth mistake ties back into this one, and that's our ego. Does your ego allow you to take input from other people, or do you have to be right? Now, here's the thing with advisory groups. Sometimes they have spot-on advice. That isn't always easy to hear because we can get set in our ways. But it's always advice I need to hear. It lets me get outside of myself and say, okay, I don't know everything I probably need to know about this topic. Let me get some input. Let me go to my network and get their advice. Let me go to my advisors and get their advice. Let me find a mentor, another expert. Let me find a course or program. I'm always looking to validate my feeling, what I think I know, with people who have done this before. And this takes letting go that we should know everything, letting go of our ego and really sitting in the pocket of, hey, if I want to grow, I need to give myself the best opportunity to grow. And maybe the best opportunity to grow is to sit in the learner's seat, in the beginner's seat, wear that white belt, right? Even if we're a black belt at what we do, we might be a white belt at marketing or people or systems or planning. And being willing to say so, that takes letting go of our ego. The final mistake I want to mention here is that we might be revealed as imposters. So imagine we open up our hearts and we say, hey, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing here. That one slip up might let someone know that we don't know what we're doing. And sometimes that can feel too vulnerable and that we're an imposter. But we do know what we're doing. We do belong. We are successful. We do have great expertise in what we do. But that imposter syndrome, it kind of just pokes its nose in and really messes with our insecurities. This is where your advisory group can become a haven for you because you'll build trust, you'll build relationships, you'll build friendships, and you'll feel more secure about sharing things, about opening up, about sharing your numbers, sharing your goals, sharing your dreams, which is the best gift that you could give yourself. Because even though you have people at home who support you, hopefully, you have friends and family, hopefully, that support you, those people don't fully understand what it's like to run a business as much as their support and love is appreciated. But your advisory group, they become the community that does understand, where you can share your vision, your goals, ask questions without feeling like you're going to be judged. So this is your next growth catalyst. It's something we've been working on inside the Her Business Network for more than 20 years now. It's something that is a stronghold. It's a powerful part of being part of our Her Business community. So now that we've explored what an advisory group is, what the benefits are, what some of the mistakes are, so what next? How do you actually move forward with this? Now, you could choose to keep going it alone, or you could start forming your own advisory group. If you want to go it alone, there is evidence that shows that loneliness is what leads to business burnout. And there was actually a Forbes article done where it talked about the antidote to burnout and isolation was to grow and nurture an online community of like-minded individuals, to network and make real-world connections, to celebrate achievements, to find accountability. And when I read that article, I thought, hang on a minute, you are talking exactly about what her business does. And so accountability is exactly what you get with our advisory groups. In fact, there is another study that actually, this is really great. It talks about the difference between setting a goal ourselves and just declaring it to someone, and setting a goal and actually having an appointment to turn up and give someone an update on that goal. And when I saw these numbers, it just blew me away. So with the first course of action, the rate of achieving the goal hovers between 5 and 10%. But with the second method, where you actually have an appointment to turn up and give someone an update on your goal, that percentage jumps to 95% chance that you'll achieve it. Isn't that incredible? That is what advisory groups can do for you. I want to share a couple of success stories from within the Her Business Network. So the wonderful Tasha Jennings is a naturopath and she specialises in fertility. And when she joined the network, she was trying to replace her $150,000 salary. And this was over 10 years ago now. Now, she was really paid well for that job, but she wanted to do her own thing. And she's very good at what she does. She appears on podcasts, on stages. She works with fertility nurses, all about optimizing your fertility naturally. She was getting so many people booking her appointments that her books were full with people doing one-on-one sessions with her. But what was happening was that her calendar was so full that she just couldn't fit anyone else in. And so we encouraged her to raise her prices. And she got advice on, okay, so how do I raise them? How do I introduce that to my existing clients? And she raised her prices, and guess what? Nothing changed as far as her booking. She was still booked out. And so she raised them again slightly a little while later. So she was actually undervaluing herself, but she would have kept doing that if she didn't have a community helping her, people saying to her, you know what? You really need to raise those prices. And it was through the advice and encouragement of her peers that she made these moves. She's now got an online course, so she's able to help a lot more women with their fertility. She has recently had her best launch ever. She still does her one-on-one sessions, but she can charge way more for them because less are available. And more importantly, and to where her heart is, she's helping more women with something that is really painful in their life, working one-to-many with her course and then working one-to-one. So she's really turned things around because she got people around her who held her accountable to making these changes. There's another story I want to tell, and this one is Yvonne Shepherd. Now, she has an outdoor fitness adventure company, and she was growing her business very steadily. She was getting advice on her marketing, her offers, raising her prices, her email marketing, doing great, and then COVID hit. And she went from having all these adventures on the books to having to cancel everything because we couldn't travel. And so her income went back to zero, which I know was a common story at the time because COVID really flatlined a lot of businesses, especially those in the travel sector like Yvonne's. So it was with the advice of her community, she really put the gas on up-leveling her online membership community, where women can go to connect with other women interested in travel, in hiking, in adventures. And it was a place where she would provide workouts and resources for women who wanted to get fit and do that with a community. So what happened as a result was that she started to create another revenue stream that would eventually underwrite her business and allow the outdoor adventures, when they finally came back online, to be the cream on top. And now with the pandemic gone and adventures out there, she's had year-on-year increases in her revenue and her profit. And she just recently had her 10th anniversary in her business. And here's what I know. She often taps the community for advice. And she says that she started with her business because she wanted to turn her hobby into a business. She was already making money, but she wasn't serious about her business. Now, I'm not saying that you should be a serious businesswoman, but what I'm saying is that I think you should be serious about your business as far as making it profitable and giving you the life you love. And so tapping into advisory groups is a way that you're going to grow your business. So I really want you to lean into this, especially if you're an introvert like me, if you're thinking, oh, I don't know if my problems are ones that I want to share or the challenges, I don't want to look like a dope. We're not talking about walking into a huge room of people and noise and saying, hey, here's my stuff. We're talking about being in a group of 5 to 6 women who are hand-selected because they're on a similar journey to you and have been put with you as an advisory group. And inside the Her Business Network, members get together in groups of 5 or 6 every month. Some meet virtually, others get together in person. And some of them meet more regularly just because they love each other so much. but they meet and connect around a structure that we provide and guidelines that we provide. And they share things like, here's the progress I've made, here's the challenges I'm having, here's what I'm going to get done next month. And so every month there's someone to show up for, there's accountability, there's a sounding board. And what's happening is they're building their confidence, they're extending their networks, they're building their skills. When we match members inside the network, we do it in a very specific way. So when you apply for one of our advisory groups, you are asked a number of questions so that you can be matched based on the size of your business, based on how many team members you have, how much experience you have, what your goals are. That way the conversations are rich. And so if you don't have any team and you're not growing a team, then you're likely working with other women who are in similar situation, who are carrying all the weight of all the tasks on their own and perhaps developing a different type of business. So you don't have someone who's just starting out in business, who doesn't have any team, in a group with someone who's doing 7 figures and has 10 staff. And the regular commitment to an advisory group really allows you to refocus on your business. And as I said, you're tapping into trusted advice. And that's what you want as a business owner. You don't want random advice, you want trusted advice where there's no BSing. There's no hype. You're just telling the truth about what's going on in your business. And that can be really empowering when you raise the curtain and think, okay, this is what's really happening in my business. How can you help me? Here's what I need advice on. Here's where I don't need your advice. Here's where I just need a little kick in the butt. This is where I need a couple of people to look over my website and say, hey, this is where I would click, or, that offer is really unclear. So you can use your advisory group in so many ways. And your advisory group members, they can be situated anywhere. You could be in country Victoria or Darwin or in Auckland or in Glebe in Sydney or in the Outback. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got an internet connection, you can be part of our advisory groups. And inside Her Business, we don't match on location. It's done, as I said, on your needs and your business profile. So if you're not yet a member of the Her Business Network, the advisory groups are totally included. So if you are a member, you want to make sure that if you haven't joined a group yet, that you've applied to be matched to one. And if you're not a member, this is a wonderful community. This is where you get access to an advisory group at no extra charge. One of the first things we do when you join is we ask you to fill out a short application telling us about your business so that we can match you. Then we set up a time for you to meet with your group, and we give you a structure to succeed. And one of the things I love about having a built-in advisory group is that you get the resources and support from our team. And the cost of not taking action is that you can stop, of taking action now is that you stop feeling isolated and you stop getting that decision fatigue because you're not having to figure it all out on your own. The cost of not taking action is that you may continue to feel isolated and that you are getting decision fatigue. The cost is not trusting yourself in your decisions. It's being in that feeling of spinning your wheels. But having an advisory group can be that support system, that encouragement, that sounding board. I know it has been for me, and I respect and admire every single woman who I was ever on an advisory group with. And I can tell you in over 30 years, there have been a number of groups that I've been a part of, and they would come with all their experience. So one of my advisory group members, Susie, was very experienced in publicity, and she managed to get us in the media and help me with that part of the business. Cheryl was a brand specialist and helped us develop our brand. Julie was a numbers woman, and she kept me so accountable to our numbers. Susan was great with government and advocacy and allowed us to support women from that government level. And so they were all getting something out of it too. That's the thing with advisory boards. It's very much give and get, and you're supporting each other with their businesses. And so this is what I love to do. I love to support women to grow their businesses. And for 29 years, I've been in this role at Her Business, helping women connect with each other. But these advisory groups, we've had them in some form or another since 1998, believe it or not. In those days, you used to meet at a local cafe when you could, depending where you lived, with people around you. These days, of course, with technology, our members are meeting from all over the country and internationally. So if you take anything away from this episode, is that we all need community and people to do the whole entrepreneurial thing. You need people to lean on and ask questions to and learn from. And if you'd like to do that with our beautiful community at Her Business, we would love to have you. All you need to do is head on over to herbusinessnetwork.com today and you'll see all the details. There's also an opportunity to ask questions there if you need them. Now, there's a number of things we talked about in today's episode, and I'm going to put those details over at herbusiness.com/272. You'll find a summary of what we've covered in today's episode, as well as links to anything we've mentioned here. I hope that you will really do this, whether you do it through the Her Business Network or you just phone your own peer-to-peer advisory group, to go ahead and find people to work around you. This really is my secret weapon for business growth. I've had advisory groups all my career, all my time in business, and I just wouldn't swap it for anything. They become lifelong friends, these women and men who at different times in my business have been there for me as part of an advisory group. I want you to join me next time right here on the Her Business podcast for more business tips and strategies. If you don't follow us on Instagram, we're at Her Business and we're always publishing different business tips. And if you have an idea for an episode or you want to give me some feedback, you can write to me at podcast@herbusiness.com. If you're new to the show, be sure to subscribe to get the next episode of the show. And I'll see you back here, right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.